a little bit about the developments of the shooting because it's a story that I'll be following. Let's see what you think. See what you think, my friends.
That it's terrifying that any day something like this could happen to their families.
Mm-hmm.
For many parents in North Carolina, school safety remains top of mind. After just weeks into the new school year, a deadly school shooting in Georgia has some of them shaken up.
So, as you can see, everyone is on the field. They run to the football field where they should be safer. It's generally where we try to amass people when there's a fire or anything like that. They run to the football field where everybody lines up with their classes so that they can be accounted for. I don't know. You probably in your country don't do drills like this. We do drills like this. You go to the football field and you line up with the class that you were in, and you line up as your seating chart was, and they can then check you off a list so they can tell that you're safe. They can count you as safe. And that's why they want you on the football field. Also, chances are you're not going to be being burned or nothing's falling on you from an earthquake. That's the idea.
You want to say to your kids, it won't be real. Like, but in the back of your
There's no such thing as monsters.
mind, it could be. You never know.
Rebecca Lassiter says her two kids just had a lockdown drill that day in Durham County, a safety procedure that's taken seriously in today's climate.
Oh my God, just chaos. Look at all these cars.
When there have been 385 mass shootings so far this year.
385 mass shootings. So you got to know what a mass shooting is. Mass shooting is 4 or more dead. 4 dead is a mass. You got yourself a mass shooting. You got to get to 4. It's connect 4. So don't do it. If you stay under 4, you're not a mass shooter. 385 mass shootings. God damn.
One of my friends was actually in a drill, and the whole time she's texting me and she's scared, and we're praying for her. And it's just like, how is this happening? You know, how is this real? It's just, I couldn't imagine going to school as a child thinking that any day something like that could happen to me.
Safety concerns.
This is the thing, right? This is something that I have a hard time imagining. It's just gonna be that it can't be, right? I can't imagine going through life like that. I can't imagine it. Georgia school shooting stirs debate about safe gun storage laws. They want to have you storing your gun properly because if you were like me, you were up early watching the charging of the criminal father and the son. The Colt Gray and his father were both hauled before a judge today. Colt Gray didn't seem to be moved by the experience, but his father was crying and was definitely hyperventilating and freaking out a little bit. It turns out that the FBI and the sheriff's department had both talked with him about his son sending crazy stuff on Discord. See, he's a gamer and loves violence and was saying weird things about middle schools on Discord just a year ago. So he'd be a freshman this year. He's 14 years old. So last year he was in middle school, and I guess he moved. They moved, and the sheriff didn't follow up because he moved counties. FBI reported, went to the sheriffs. The sheriffs investigated. They questioned the kid. I listened to the questioning today. The kid's like, "No, it wasn't me. I didn't say anything on Discord. No, not me." They talked to the dad about the guns. The dad said, well, I don't want him playing video games. I'd rather have him come out hunting with me because hunting is better. So now we're talking about gun storage laws because that's the thing. It's about storage. That's the problem for sure.
Is one of the reasons why Kanisha Myrick Bragg says she left the classroom. The former teacher echoed other parents in the urgency to find ways to mitigate the threat of mass shootings.
I think we really have to start finding ways to be better as people and to make sure that our kids are healthy so that they don't feel that they need to go do something violent.
I think sharing and being open about our emotions, and as adults being open about our emotions to our kids as well, just shows them that they're healthy and that they are something that we need to express, and that there's also places we can express them in.
Do you think that's the problem? Do you think expressing our emotions is what we're not doing for the kids? I feel like everyone's expressing their emotions a lot lately. I feel like the emotions are being expressed, don't you? I've been expressing my emotions. Are you expressing your emotions with your kids? That emotions are safe. I don't know. I read something yesterday about how kids, boys, they have these surges of testosterone. They need to go out and they need to run and they need to climb trees and they need to do stuff because they have these kind of like surges of testosterone. And I'm like, oh, that makes actually a little bit of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, when I was a little boy, I had surges, I'm sure, where I want to run around and do stuff. And other times I wanted to sit around and do nothing. But these kids are just playing video games and sitting around and told to shut up. Here's some ADD drugs. Here's some ADHD drugs. Shut up. You get shh. Maybe it is the emotional. Maybe we need to express our emotions. What do you think? You second that emotion? All right. Maybe it's the emotional thing that we need to be. Let's continue.
In a healthy manner.
In a healthy manner.
And the White House has called for tougher gun laws in reaction to the latest mass shooting. But while President Joe Biden says they've made significant progress, he says this crisis requires even more.
What does it require, Joe? Because, like, as far as I can tell, we are still in the same situation we've been in. The only difference between now and when I grew up, there was an assault rifle ban. But now assault rifles are totally cool, and kids want them. Kids love them. Every kid needs an AR-15 style weapon. That's what we need. Yeah. What do you know? Of course, Trump is dealing with he's got bigger things going on. How could you be worried about kids in going into schools when you are trying to overturn your adjudicated sexual assault charge? You know, you're gonna have to pay, what is it, $100 million now you're supposed to pay to E. Jean Carroll, a woman. Never met her, have no idea who she is. Well, it looks like people thought you met her and you've been convicted. They're trying to overturn that case now, the sexual abuse suit, they're calling it, but really it's a rape charge. And how could you, this is the thing, how could you concentrate and think about what's going on? Because I don't know, have you ever gotten in trouble in life? I've been in trouble. And let me tell you, it becomes your whole life. You aren't able to think about other stuff. Your entire, I don't care if it's you're in trouble with the law or you have some major medical event, that becomes your life. You can barely function in the rest of your life. So how the heck is he going to do anything about the guns when this is what he's going through? Luckily, the White House is calling for gun law reform. But do you think that'll help? He says there needs to be more. There needs to be more going on.
We're learning new details about the ninth grader charged in the killing, Colt Gray.
The Fox 5 I-team has poured through public records today, trying to learn more about the accused teen. Late today, the I-team obtained a recording of a sheriff's office interview of Colt Gray and his father, recorded after the FBI received a tip last year.
Does it bother you that the guy who shot at Trump and this kid, they have the same story? Like, they liked guns. Their dads wanted them to be big hunters. They were crazy into Discord and video games. Do you think that maybe we can kind of like start drawing some, do you think we could start learning something, like anything? I don't know. I don't know about this.
About a threat to shoot up a school.
Fox 5 I-team reporter Johnny Edwards says a picture is emerging of a troubled family and, Johnny, some missed warning signs.
Right, from what we're learning, Colt Gray's home life was fraught with problems. Police reports and court records concerning his parents, Colin and Marcy Gray, reveal a broken family. Colt living with his father, his two younger siblings living with their mother.
A broken family. That makes it, God damn it, this language that they're using. A broken family must be the divorce. You see, if those parents had just stayed together through the meth addiction, then they would have been okay. If they just stayed together with their opioid addictions, everything would have been all right. It's the divorce that's the problem. That's what it is, right? Thank you, Johnny Edwards. Johnny Edwards, thank you for that keen insight. Thank you so much, sir.
Marcy Gray was arrested late last year for scratching her husband's truck.
Oh, no. She scratched her husband's truck. I mean, she keyed his car.
Then when they arrested her, police say they found her with methamphetamines, fentanyl, and a glass pipe. She was sentenced to 46 days in jail. Also last year, Colt Gray and his father received a visit from Jackson County Sheriff.
So instead of, God, this is like, I love that every time this happens in America, it feels like America lifts her skirt and she's not wearing any underwear and you gotta see everything. That's what it feels like every time this happens. Like someone just pantsed America and America wasn't wearing any underwear. And it's like looking up the dress of Lady Liberty because and seeing how the underbelly really looks of America. She keyed her husband's car, so clearly there was some domestic dispute going on because people have fights, whatever. I don't think people should get their cars keyed or key cars, but hey, things happen. And they found her with meth, and they put her in jail for 2 months. What does that help? If you've got a meth problem and you've got a glass pipe and fentanyl in your car, a drug that is legally bought and sold in America, what does putting someone in jail for 2 months do? Except for disrupt their lives so that when they come back out, they don't have a job and they go straight back into trying to just get enough money to get through the day and get fentanyl. God damn it. Meth and fentanyl. Do you know what kind of addiction meth and fentanyl is? Do you know what that is? Meth is an upper and fentanyl is an opioid. It's a downer. You can't afford heroin, so you take fentanyl to put you to sleep and kill the pain, and you take meth to get you up and go to work. That's what that is. If you've got fentanyl and meth, that's what's going on, especially if you're still employed. If you've got fentanyl and meth in your car and you are still holding a job, hats off to you because it's probably what's getting you through the day. I'm in Denver right now. I was walking around. I was taking pictures of the graphic. I like to see the graffiti, the street art. I was walking down an alley and I stumbled across a person in a wheelchair smoking meth. And he had the pipe and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" He was kind of surprised I was there, and I was like, "No, man, you're good. Don't worry about it, bro. Nothing. I ain't busting you, man. I ain't a cop. Don't worry." And he's like, "Hey, do you smoke?" And I went, "No, I don't smoke." And I think he wanted to share. I'm not sure, but he's like, "Do you smoke?" Maybe he wanted a cigarette. I don't know. I was like, "Nah, man, nah." And so I kept walking. It's a problem in America. I see people smoking meth a lot when I'm in cities. When you're out in the country, you see the effects of it more because they don't have any places to hide when you're out there in the rural areas.
Sheriff's investigators. They were looking into an FBI tip. Apparently, someone on a gaming app had threatened to shoot up a middle school. They believed Colt may have been involved. According to incident reports, the then 13-year-old told investigators he didn't make those threats. Here's a sheriff's investigator talking to Colt Gray.
I promise I will never say something like that.
So you haven't used Discord in a few months?
Oh, no.
And you're saying you didn't say anything.
God, I mean, come on. You haven't used Discord in a few months. I mean, no, officer. No, I've never used Discord. Not me. No. Wasn't me. Son, we're the FBI. We know you've been using the Discord. Might as well come clean now so we don't have to arrest your father in about 6 to 9 months.
No, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there and watch videos.
TikTok only, he says.
Colt's father told police he did have guns in the house. He said they were accessible but not loaded. He said he and his son would go hunting together. He said he wanted his son away from video games and into the outdoors.
It's just so funny. Why do you want him out of the video game? Like, it's just so funny. I want him to stop playing video games and get outside. I want him to stop killing people in video games and start killing animals in real life. Like, which do you think did more damage? What do you think did more damage? Desensitizing yourself to violence through the video game, or desensitizing yourself to actual killing in hunting animals? What do you think? What do you think does more damage, video games or hunting? Please let me know in the chat. I'd love to know. Love to know what you think.
Colt even shot his first deer that year. Colt and Gray also
What
told
a proud moment it must have been. He even shot his first deer that year. You know, way to go, Colt. Colt Gray. Way to go, man.
police his son had problems at school.
Colt is literally named. Do you think they named him after a baby horse? No, they did not name Colt after a baby horse. They named him after the gun. They named him after the gun, Colt.
I've been up to school, like I'm on first name. I just was up there 3 days ago for his finals, talking to the principal, like, look, we talk about it quite a bit. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah.
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
After that talk, police left. They weren't able to substantiate the tip. Here's where a breakdown may have occurred.
So the fact that his dad is saying that he was getting picked on at school and he wants to go hunting. I know you're getting picked on at school, son. You know what we should do? Let's go kill an animal. That'll make it feel better. I'll make you feel better, won't it? I think it'll make you feel better. Maybe it'll make you feel so good that you'll graduate to humans. Make you feel even more better, huh? More better. More better butter.
The Jackson County Sheriff tells us she believes her department alerted Jackson County schools, telling them keep monitoring Colt Gray. In an email obtained by the I-Team, a sheriff's captain tells the FBI, we have made area schools aware and will monitor this subject. But by that point, Colt Gray had already finished 8th grade at Jefferson Middle School. By 9th grade, he and his father had moved to a different county, and that's where he started at Apalachee High School in Barrow. This is what we're still trying to figure out. If that alert from Jackson County carried over to the new school district. And
no, it did not. Have you ever been in a school district? Oh my God. When I went to college, I was in 3 school districts in high school. And did you think that they had all my paperwork all like perfect? No, they screwed it all up. Like they didn't have any of my records. I had to go to all these different places. Then at one point, they couldn't find that I had taken my health requirements and wanted to say that I didn't graduate. I had my diploma. And I'm like, no, I took my health requirement. What are you saying? It was like 7 years later that now they're saying, and I'm like, you have a copy of my diploma, right? Yes, but you didn't take your health requirement. I'm like, I thought they almost made me retake my high school health requirement in order to go to college. And finally they found it. Oh, here it is. It was under the water cooler. I don't know how it ended up back there. This is school districts, one of the most underfunded places in the world. As far as bureaucracies are concerned, one of the most underfunded. We're screwing our kids. It's the worst. I see people are saying that video games could lead to hunting and other activities, says Martin. Well, Sega never made me want to kill. You know, I never really, I tell you what though, Sega made me want to drive fast. Sega made me want to drive recklessly. I will say that. Driving in video games made me want to go drive in real life like I was driving in the video games. But then again, the violence in video games wasn't what it is today. Like back then, Metal Gear Solid and some of these games, violent games that I was playing were not like they are now. Not at all. So, Maybe it's different, Maybe the combination of video games, violent video games, Discord because Discord, I think, is where everyone gets crazy ideas these days. So you're playing video games, you're on Discord getting crazy ideas, getting radicalized, and your dad is saying, let's go out and kill some animals. Seems like a recipe for disaster for me. Seems like a perfect storm, man. Maybe we've cracked the code. This is what causes school shootings. Maybe we found it out. Listening to Judas Priest makes me want to drive fast. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Listening to Kiss makes me want to praise the devil.
What would monitoring even mean? We don't know. Tom?
All right, Johnny, thanks for that important information.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Johnny Edward. Skyfox. Skyfox Traffic is next. Look, I don't know how the heck we're going to be getting anywhere with all of these school shootings if we don't address the gun problem in America. I think everybody knows it at this point. I think it's very clear what the solution is. It's a very simple solution. You have the Department of Motor Vehicles become the Department of Motor Vehicles and Firearms. I've heard fewer people are getting driver's licenses these days. Perfect. That means you've got a bunch of bureaucrats with nothing to do. Great. AI is handling most of what's going on at the DMV these days. Wonderful. I've even heard that millions of car titles have been converted into NFTs in California already. Absolutely stunning work. The more you do stuff like that to modernize the DMV, the more you'll have time for bureaucrats to do things like maybe like handle guns, figure out where the guns are, give people licenses for guns. It doesn't have to be so complicated. Like, you take a class, a little 15-question thing. Take your practical exam, just like with the car, since cars are dangerous. Take your test, get a gun. It's your right in America. Now you have a gun. What do you have to do if you want a bigger gun? You want an AR-15 style gun? Well, same solution as we do with the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. If you wanted to drive a 16-wheeler Mack truck with air brakes and a Jake brake and the whole 9 yards, then you're going to have to pass a physical, a mental examination, and get a very special license. It's going to cost a little more. It's going to be a little bit more involved, but still, anybody can do it. It's still your right. It's just going to take a couple extra steps in order for you to get the big weapons. What if I want a really bad, I want a cannon. I want a cannon. No problem. You can still have a cannon. You're just going to have to take even more tests and more psychological evaluations and that kind of thing. And we're going to have to send a dude out to make sure that you're keeping your black powder and your projectiles safe. We're going to have to send a guy out there to make sure you're doing things right, okay? Piece of cake. It's the same kind of thing. Maybe there's going to be a little sticker. Just like on my truck, I got to put a little sticker that says it's registered, There you go. Piece of cake. It's done. The Department of Motor Vehicles can become the Department of Motor Vehicles and Firearms. Problem solved all across America. Easy peasy. And the states can still have little differences, little differences here and there. And if you bring your gun to California or you bring your gun to Arkansas, you got to register it in that state, just like you do with cars. That's the solution. You come up with a better one, you let me know. Common sense gun regulation is how we have to move forward. I know in America we're never going to get rid of the guns. No one's saying that. We just need to get our heads around the idea that a blunderbuss like they were using to kill the British back in 1776 is not the same kind of thing as an AR-15 style assault rifle that you can go and mass murder 385 times this year. Mass shootings, sorry. Oh, Bartleby. Oh, humanity.